Hey Narwhals, I'm your host Luke Narwhal, back after a mini break here with a new video, and the topic is unpopular opinion. Telling someone who's struggling to lose weight to just calories in, calories out has the same energy as telling a depressed person to just be happy. People generally know that they need to eat fewer calories than they burn in order to lose weight. The hard part is building the habit while avoiding the pitfalls of emotional eating, boredom eating, social snacking, time and money constraints, family eating habits, etc. More helpful advice than just eat less, dummy, would be tips and tricks for getting around these constraints, and how to get into a headspace that allows for healthy habit building. SECO is the what. The how varies for each person based on personality and situation, and can include tools like strict calorie counting, therapy, not keeping soda in the house, etc. SECO is simultaneously simple yet difficult. Just SECO doesn't begin to touch the issue of emotional eating, stress eating, and bored eating. I often say problems can have simple yet difficult solutions, as opposed to others which are complex but easy. For example, you can follow instructions to assemble a complex piece of furniture. No one step is difficult and the process can be done by anyone if they have good instructions. It's actually easy as a task, though it's complex. SECO is simple, yet can be difficult to apply. The principle is very straightforward, and to many people this is super comforting if they've been lied to their whole life that weight loss is some super complex, magical, mythical thing that you need a professional or supplements, medication, surgery trainers, etc. to accomplish. It's not magic. It's not hard to understand. Anyone can do it, especially with the tech we have today for logging. Is it easy? It might be. It might be something that as soon as a person gets it for the first time, it's easy as hell for them to apply. They just generally didn't know any better. Or it might be hard as hell to apply, because the hurdle is not ignorance, but an underlying problem that needs to be addressed. Physical illness, addiction, binging, mental health concerns of all types, all tied up in a complicated bow. You might understand perfectly well how to count calories and maintain a deficit, but you might not have the emotional fortitude to do the thing you know that works. That's where it's hard, even if it's simple. Don't forget the time and mental energy it takes, especially at first. Most forms of SECO involve tracking, weighing, and measuring, looking at nutritional information, and a lot of home cooking and prep. Even if, like me, you're privileged enough to have that spare time and energy, it's so much simpler to just order takeout or throw a TV dinner in the microwave. Edit because some people are misunderstanding. I'm not saying it's impossible or that people shouldn't bother trying. I'm just acknowledging that SECO isn't always simple or easy, especially when external factors like jobs or family come into play. I think it's the word just in the phrase just SECO. We all know how difficult SECO is, and many of us have found a way to finally accomplish it in our lives, but it really is an uphill struggle, and we could all learn some new tricks and tips. I've seen plenty of people gloss over or dismiss the difficulties in SECO. For some people, cutting up processed foods isn't nearly as hard for them as the general population. Some people can quit smoking cold turkey in the first try and similar, and some people have cut the weight off for so long they forgot how hard it was in the first place. So, I honestly had no idea it was as simple as SECO to lose weight. I knew I should eat better and do exercise, but I did not know anything when I first started losing weight. I gained all my weight back and then yo-yo dieted for a long time. Growing up, the advice was exercise, and you see that's still here. Half the time people writing they have finally decided to lose weight, it's by exercise. And you know that if that's the thinking, they may not be overly successful once they realize how crappy that is when you are overweight. For me, a big changing point was understanding how the body burns calories, and that if I want to lose weight, you gotta eat less. So 300-500 calories will allow you to burn X fat. So now I have the tool of understanding. But for 30 years, nobody explained this to me. I was always told I had to work out, not that eating less than consumption was the key. So yeah, telling people just SECO is the way to go is key, but explaining why it works is part of that importance. People need to figure out how they can do it with their lifestyle, as this will be a long-term change. I don't disagree with you, but the biggest reason I didn't start losing weight for a while was because I was overcomplicating it. I thought that I was going to need to eat small portions of extremely healthy foods and exercise for hours upon hours a day. That's just not the case. So maybe somebody seeing it's just SECO will help them start. I think that explaining BMR and total daily energy expenditure are also very important, because I didn't know that my body would do most of the work for me. I think if people really just focus on the portions first, that will help train you to not feel ravenous anymore when you're really only a tad hungry. I put quotes around those words because it seriously feels like you're starving. Whenever I go off the rails and get back on, the first week or so, I'm constantly hungry because my body's used to never feeling hunger because I was busy overindulging every whim. But after the first week or 10 days, it eases up, and I can go back to intermittent fasting without much thought to it. That's why I think it's easiest to whittle down portions as the first step. Keep eating pizza, but cut out a slice or two off your usual serving, that sort of thing. Then, I find it's easier to transition to healthier foods. For example, this most recent time of weight gain, which was all COVID lockdown depression related, I went from getting takeout to eating frozen lean cuisine. And now I'm more or less back to craving the healthier stuff like hard-boiled eggs, cottage cheese, salads are my friends again, etc. And then the takeout or fast food is a rare treat. And thanks to the calories listed on almost all the menus now, there are always smarter choices to be made, even at Jack in the Box. The fajita pita is your BFF. Same with exercise. Whether you're just getting into it or getting back on the wagon, nothing wrong with starting off on a nice long walk. It's so hard. Honestly, I struggle with it until I get a few good days under my belt. Then I don't want to lose the momentum. But stringing together those good days was hard. I tried and failed so many times. Now I've been going strong for 6 months and lost 25 pounds. I have 20 more to go. It also helped me to have a huge goal event I was shooting for, my daughter's wedding in June. I did not want to be photographed while feeling my worst. That said, despite my best effort, I'm not going to reach my goal in time, but at least I'll look and feel better than if I'd done nothing. I don't have good advice, but I understand the struggle. It's especially hard for me because I'm short, older, and sedentary. I really cannot eat much at all. I think it's worth understanding that the abundance of just Seco people is mostly reactionary to various years of over-mystified diets, which continues to this day, where people say, do X and Y, you'll lose weight, where the actual thing those diets do is create a caloric deficit. Stuff like eat just one meal a day, fast 18 hours per day, eat no carbs, drink a gallon of water a day, eat for your blood type, eat the Mediterranean diet or just do juice cleanse, etc. All these various methods have been touted everywhere and kind of turn the simple math problem, Seco, at the base of losing weight into a series of bizarre and esoteric practices. Or you get people who eat a ton of calories of diet foods and don't lose weight and act surprised. The reason that Seco gets thrown around a lot here is because it's undeniable and simple. Now I do agree, however, that it's not super helpful advice on its own. Former personal trainer here. That's a great analogy. Seco is correct, but in reality, it is more complicated. It's not just Seco because your body's metabolism can change. The amount of muscle you have increases your metabolism, and losing muscle decreases it. If you only eat Twinkies, you might lose weight, but you will also lose muscle, reducing your metabolism. Eating the right foods with antioxidants and muscle-building components, and eating fiber to control blood sugar to keep you from having insulin spikes is just as necessary in my experience. It's like in your example about depression and just be happy. Happiness involves building healthy relationships, being active, finding hobbies, etc. Seco and health should involve learning what macros do in your body, resistance training, finding out how hormones and even gene expression are influenced by what you eat. Seco is the what for sure, but all that other stuff I mentioned is the why. And that brings us to the end of the featured comments in our walls. I don't always offer my opinion on these posts, but because this topic has come up so many times, I thought I'd just chime in and mention previous comments people have made on this topic of Seco and whether it's as simple as Seco. And I think the overall narrative that much of the comments on this post have kind of alluded to is just the fact that it's really personal. Like, weight loss is a very personal thing. And nobody's background, experience, childhood, and even your genetic makeup is the same as somebody else. And sometimes everyone can just kind of lump it into, oh, just eat less calories, oh, just get organized, just make a diet, get a schedule going. But obviously, like many people pointed out in this post, taking the actions and then creating the habits to get to a point where you're just building up that organization and then maintaining it, that can be very difficult. And obviously there's no simple solution to that. There are some good suggestions here, I think. And definitely if you have problems that are spanning beyond your weight, I would always encourage you to talk to a doctor or just a friend or family member you trust to try to tackle any kind of internal issue that may be even more important than the weight issue. But that's just my opinion. Once again, I'm not an expert. I'm not a medical professional. I always encourage people to see a doctor for anything to do with health problems or just any kind of health inquiries at all. If you watched all the way into the end, I appreciate it. Thank you very much. This has been your host, Luke Narwhal. And until the next time, have a good one, Narwhals.